Hi, my name is Arthur, and I am Review Teller. Today we are discussing The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. If you thought that making a team that works well is easy, think again. There is a whole science behind this organizational science. Lencioni is an expert in organizational health and management, and all his instructions are coming from a man with years of experience in this field. The author of the book, Patrick Lencioni, tells you a story of a team leader who struggles to get her company back in the game. The book is written in novel-like style. Everything is explained in the form of captivating yet useful stories that each talk about the benefits of good team functioning. Trust. According to Lencioni, everything begins with trust. This is the basis of all subsequent team successes. Guess what happens when people in the workplace don't trust each other? Your right communication between people deteriorates, fights, quarrels, and misunderstandings get more and more common, etc. The worst consequences of the lack of trust are burnout syndrome and unhealthy competitiveness. 1. Burnout syndrome is the plague of the contemporary world. We'll show this in Mark's example. He was an accountant in a big company. He never felt like he was a part of the team. He didn't trust other people, and his co-workers didn't trust him. They were a group of individuals, not a team. So Mark was never able to turn towards others for help, and moreover, he was always afraid that others would outdo him. So he began stressing about his work, anxiously trying to comply with all due dates, etc. All this made him to burn out. The worst thing about the burnout syndrome is the fact that you feel exhausted and demotivated all the time. 2. Unhealthy competitiveness. This is the kind of rivalry that is filled with envy, jealousy, and hate. We've all seen this. 2 employees, let's call them Sam and Mike, compete just about anything. While competition is sometimes good for productivity and motivation, the unhealthy rivalry is rarely good because it's so destructive. 2 types of conflict. When Steve Jobs decided to introduce the iPhone, members of his team weren't as optimistic as he was. iPhone was so innovative and bold, that it kind of scared people. So Steve Jobs was quite literally forced to enter a conflict with these skeptics, and he did this in a good, productive fashion. For instance, he mentioned some rational, sound arguments in favor of iPhone. Even though he was frustrated and angry at his consultants for doubting him, he didn't resort to insults and bold attacks. Most importantly, he left personal matters aside during the debate. He attacked his opponent's arguments, and not their personalities. This is the most important difference between healthy, constructive conflicts and unhealthy, destructive conflicts. There are other interesting examples of these 2 types of conflicts. Donald Trump almost always involves personal matters in his debates. During the last presidential election campaign, he often clashed with Hillary Clinton, and both didn't hesitate to completely neglect the important part of the debate: rational arguments. Both Trump and Hillary focused on insulting and degrading each other. So unhealthy conflicts are an essential part of political debates, but they should be left out of office teams and groups. Lencioni mentions that, although conflicts are not necessarily a bad thing, they tend to be unpleasant, even if they are productive. So you don't have to completely embrace and fall in love with conflicts, but you have to accept them and face the fact that they are inevitable. Commitment. Commitment stems from trust and constructive conflicts. Commitment means that the whole team is on the same wavelength and that each member of the group knows his or her duties and tasks. Cascading communication is crucial for this. The term cascading communication means that information cascades from higher to lower positions. In other words, orders coming from high up should be transmitted to lower levels in a consistent, unchanged way. Although you didn't expect this comparison, cascading information is nicely depicted in the movie Wolf of the Wall Street. First of all, the main protagonist, or antagonist, Jordan Belfort, is the prototype of a good leader. He's highly motivated, active, and full of good ideas. Most importantly, he transmitted orders to his employees in an ideal way. Not only were his suggestions clear and transparent, but his managers did the same. This is the essence of cascading information. Accountability. When people really commit to a goal, they can be held accountable for their actions. This is the next step towards a perfect team. When people know their responsibilities, they can be held accountable for their mistakes, and they will be more ready to accept them. King of romance writing in India, Ravinder Singh's 11th book Write Me a Love Story released in May 2021. As the title suggests, the new book is also a love story by the popular author. Write Me a Love Story is a story of two opposites who eventually fall in love with each other. While it is a story of opposites attracting, what sets it apart is that this love story is set in the Indian publishing industry. Abhimanyu Rosdon is a best-selling romance writer. A fairly new publishing house Paper Inc. is looking to add an A-list author to their list. And so Abhimanyu is approached by Paper Inc. But the author is unlike the sensitive and emotional guys he writes about in his novels. Instead, in real life Abhimanyu is an egoistic writer who gets into an argument with Asmita, the literary fiction editor at Paper Inc., even before his first official meeting with the publishing house. Abhimanyu is already put off with the new deal, despite Asmita's apology. More so, when he gets to know that she looks down upon popular fiction, the kind that he writes. And so, he vows to take revenge which might jeopardize her career. But while they are at loggerheads with each other, fate has something else in store for the two strong personalities. Written in Singh's characteristic style, this is another romance story which will make you believe in love. A quick and easy read, the book is a perfect light weekend read.